What's up, guys? If you're new, welcome to the channel. If you're not new, welcome back to the channel. If you are new, you don't know what this is. You can tell by the title, I guess, but this is my 97 Honda Civic DX Coupe. So D16 Y7, and I have a Y8 intake manifold on there. The reason I did that is just kind of for like better airflow with the turbo setup. I didn't really want that 90-degree bend going into the air intake, and really the main reason is I just think that looks much better. So anyway, as you can see by the title, this is a turbo Honda Civic without a tune. And to my surprise, and to a lot of your guys' surprise, it is actually running fantastic without having a tune on it. I have this max speeding rods T3 T4 turbo. I did a custom exhaust all the way out the back so it didn't sound too ricey, and I have detailed videos on every single thing that I've done to this car. So if you guys want to see a video, you can comment down below and I'll link it to you, or just go back to my channel and look at all my recent videos and you will see exactly how I built this. So to you guys that are not new to the channel, I'm sorry if this video bores you. I am kind of down right now, so I can't really work on the car, but I still wanted to put out a video for you guys because it's been a couple weeks. So with that being said, we do not have a tune. Now, it's a little bit more than just slapping a turbo on and it running fantastic. When I put the turbo on and didn't do any fuel or air support, the car ran good, just like running wise. Statistically wise, it wasn't that great, but just driving down the road, it ran good. So then I got a wideband gauge in there, and it was running pretty lean, as you could expect, as it should. It was running like at a full pull going up into the 20s, which is a fantastic way to blow up your engine if you don't know. You run it lean, there's not enough fuel in the cylinders to cool it down, heats up, and you melt a piston. So you need fuel to accommodate for that. Now the way we did that is we installed a Blocks Racing FMU, and that is a 12-to-1. And what that does, if you don't know, is as the car sees vacuum, so as the car sees boost, the FMU closes off your fuel return, forcing more fuel pressure through your injectors. So one question that I have been asked a couple of times is, what's the difference between a FMU and a fuel pressure regulator? Which your car comes with a fuel pressure regulator on it. One thing you can do is add an adjustable fuel pressure regulator to add more fuel pressure to your car, which we have. I'll get into that in a second. But the difference between those two is, like in a non-boosted car, naturally aspirated car, your car is not meant to see boost. So your fuel pressure regulator controls fuel pressure with zero boost. So basically from zero to vacuum. I hope I'm saying this right. Your FMU, you add that to control fuel pressure when the car sees boost, because that's how your FMU is controlled, by boost. So we added the FMU, and the car ran a little bit better, although the car did bogged down a little bit. Like at takeoff, I'd have to give it extra gas to get the car going, or else it would act like it wanted to die, like it was bogging down. And I think the reason is because maybe there was like, just the way it worked, it was kind of leaning out for a second there before you built enough boost for the FMU to kind of close off. I honestly, there's a wasp up there that I need to kill because I really don't want to get stung by a wasp. All right, he's dead. Where was I? Yeah, so added the FMU, and according to our wideband gauge, the car was definitely richer, but it was still lean at full throttle in boost. It was going around going up to maybe 15, 16, even 17. And when your car is at idle, it should be 14.7. When you're at a full pull, it should be like 11, 12, richer down in there. So we were still lean. The next thing that I did was I added a bigger fuel pump. When I added the fuel pump, it was able to push more fuel. So your FMU blocks off the fuel. That was pushing even more fuel, forcing more fuel out of the injectors. So adding the fuel pump made the car run pretty much perfect. I probably wouldn't have touched the car after this if it wasn't for wanting to do more YouTube content, and I already had parts on the way. So it was idling right around 14. When I did a pull, it was right around like 10, pretty rich, but I'm completely fine with it running rich. I just don't want it lean. So that was a Subaru 255 fuel pump, I think. Now, at this point, I already had Y8, D16 Y8 injectors ordered. So the Y7 injectors are pretty small. I can't remember what cc they are. I want to say like 160 or 180. And then we put Y8s in it, which are a little bit bigger. Nothing crazy, just a little bit bigger. Now keep in mind, while I'm doing all this, stock ECU, no tuning. It's all just plug and play, which is awesome. So I put the Y8 injectors in it, and it ran extremely rich at this point. The car was still driving good, but according to my wideband gauge, very rich. So I almost put the Y7 injectors back in because it ran better like that with the fuel pump, but I'm like, screw it, let's go ahead and add an adjustable fuel pressure regulator. So that means, if you don't know, we can turn up the fuel pressure that your return, it's controlled by the return of your fuel. So it's kind of like the same thing as your FMU in a way, as far as blocking off your return. So we just adjusted that, and once we added the fuel pressure regulator, the car got a little leaner, so it went back to about perfect. So my wideband gauge is good. That is one of the main, when tuning, that is one of the main things to look at. And don't get me wrong, I've never tuned a car before. I'm not a tuning expert. I would like to dive into that at some point with this car when we decide to add tuning, which might be soon. Anyway, if you guys have any recommendations on tuning, let me know. Something you might want to see, some cheaper options. My main go-to would be Honda. I do want to K-swap this at some point, and when I do that, I want to do a Haltech 1500, so maybe I'll just do that right away. But I would like to show a cheaper option of tuning that we can get away with or not get away with for you guys. Because that's really the whole point of this build, is budget and, well, yeah, mainly budget. So, anyway, we did all that, added the fuel pressure regulator, which is an Evil Energy fuel pressure regulator, just a universal kit. I like it because it has the fuel pressure gauge on it, so I can pay attention to that. And yeah, so your air-fuel ratio is one of the main things to look at when tuning, and we got that pretty much under control to rich. As long as it's not under control to lean, under control to rich is good, because you got plenty of fuel going to your cylinders, keeping it cooled, and you're not going to melt a piston down. So, also one thing I forgot to mention is I'm controlling boost by just by wastegate. So I've got a 5-pound wastegate spring in there right now, and the car runs around 7 pounds of boost at full pull. So very little boost. If you're running to run over 10 pounds of boost, I would tune it. I wouldn't mess around with this. This was simply a learning project for me to see what I could get away with, and I wanted to boost my car. So 5-pound wastegate spring in there, 5 pounds of boost, and that's the only way I'm controlling it. I don't have a boost controller. I don't even have a blow-off valve. So yeah. Now, the next thing that causes a car to blow up is detonation. So I have not done this simply because I don't have a timing light for some odd reason. One thing to do would be to back off, retard a little bit of your timing, because you kind of play with it. You add timing to add power, but when you add timing, you'll get knock, detonation. So just to be safe on this type of build where you're not seeing knock or detonation, you can retard timing a little bit, a couple degrees, just for the certainty that you're not getting knock. We have not done that, but we are going to do that. I think the car is running good right now. I think the car would last a long time, even driving it hard, with how it sits right now. With that being said, next thing on the list as far as power is I want to take it up to 10 pounds of boost. I'll either switch out the wastegate spring or add a boost controller. I really want to add a boost controller. So I'll do that, and when we do that, I will retard timing a bit, adjust my fuel pressure to make sure. I might have to add fuel pressure if it's a little lean. And one thing that a lot of people have to do, I haven't had to do this, is when your stock, I think it's your airflow sensor, sees boost, it doesn't know what to do because the car is not supposed to see boost. So there's a mod you can do called the missing link mod, and that's basically where it's like a one-way valve. And comment if I get this wrong. I think it basically lets the boost escape that valve, but when it's pulling vacuum, it won't suck air in because it's a one-way valve. So it makes your sensor not see the boost. So we're probably gonna have to do that. I should probably do that anyway. I don't quite know why I don't need to do that right now. I feel like I should need to do that right now, so I don't really know. But that's one thing to keep in mind. So that is essentially all I've done, and this thing is running good and has not blown up or shown any signs of being blown up. And I've ripped on it pretty good, and I'm going to continue testing it and doing more. One thing I really want to do for you guys is I would like to do some 0 to 60 testing with, I just downloaded an app, that's how I'm going to do it. So when my hand gets better and I can really drive the car and shift the car good, that'll probably be my next video on this thing, is a 0 to 60 test. And I'll probably compare it to my Subaru. I've got a Subaru WRX that's around 300 to 350 horsepower. So we'll do a 0 to 60 test on that. This thing isn't near as fast as that, but it'll just kind of give you a reference because I don't think it's going to be a true 0 to 60 number because it's just an app. So you know what I mean, just something, a baseline. I wish I would have done it without boost, but we didn't. So future knowledge for other videos. I'm learning. So yeah, that is my Turbo Civic build and essentially how I have kept it running pretty reliably and not blowing up. Like I said, if you guys want to see how to do any of this or what parts I used on this, the parts list is down in the description below. Some of the links are old, so they may not work. Just comment and tell me, hey, this link's not working. What actually did you get? I'll update the links and I'll send you a personal link for what it actually is. But I have a detailed how-to video showing every single thing I did, from putting the Y8 intake manifold swap on all the way to me building an exhaust all the way out the back. I have never welded before, I have never fabricated before, and I built a full exhaust. Now I had my buddy Landon fully finish weld the exhaust, but I cut everything, tacked everything up, looped it down in there, did it all, showed it all. So if you want to see that, go check out the channel. What else? I think that's about all I have for you guys in this video. I will show some driving clips. I've either put them in already or I'm going to show them here at the end, just so you guys can see it and hear it. It sounds fantastic. It definitely has added noticeable power. The car gets out of its own way now. You know, these little 4-cylinders, you can floor it and it just feels like it's not moving. Well, now it definitely has. I mean, I can spin the tires. If it's wet out, we get no traction, just spins. The next thing I want to do on this is probably nothing to the engine. I really want to improve drivability and completely replace every single suspension bushing on this thing because they're probably all shot. When I drive it, there's a bunch of clunking around in the rear. So I assume my main trailing arm bushings are shot like these things always do. I want to add rear disc brakes. I've still got drums. I'll probably just do the conversion kit. I probably won't source disc brake trailing arms just because they're hard to find and a little expensive. And I kind of want to show the budget way that you can do it. Speaking of budget, so as far as all the supporting mods that we've added to this thing to not have to tune it is probably, let's see, I think the blocks FMU might have been approaching $200, maybe a little more than 200. We'll just call it, we'll say 250. And I'd say you can get a P28 ECU with Honda in it for $300 to $400. I could be wrong. Comment down below if I'm wrong. So $300 to $400. So not much more for an ECU, but then you have to tune it. If you take it to a dyno, I don't know, $800 for a dyno session, which, and just time and money, just time, you know, finding it. So there's that. Really, the FMU is probably all that we've added to this thing. You need a bigger fuel pump, injectors, maybe you probably don't need the fuel pressure regulator, but that thing was only like 75 bucks. So it's still a little cheaper than tuning, but not much cheaper. So if you're gonna do this, maybe just go the way of tuning. Hello? But I've had a lot of fun with it, and just not having to worry about tuning has been fun, and I know it's appealing to a lot of you guys. So anyway, I think that's all I've got for you in this one. Sorry, it was just a talking video, but if you haven't seen me, go check out those videos. If you have seen me, stay tuned. We will be doing more on this as soon as I can. So thank you guys so much for watching. I will catch you in the next one.